When you're doing the show, you don't know what's coming in. You don't know who you're going to meet. You hope something comes in that's wonderful, and one of the things that did come in was this Walt Whitman letter.
It was written by Walt Whitman to my mom's great-great-great-grandfather. Walt Whitman would go around, as I understand, and would be the scribe for injured soldiers in Washington, D.C. during the Civil War. And this young man was a foster child in that family.
I've done this all my life. I mean, literally, from when I was a little kid, I was in the bookstore with my father. It still is just so thrilling to be able to touch a piece of paper that Walt Whitman or someone famous like him, you know, they held that piece of paper. They touched that piece of paper. Most of the times when you see this type of material, you're in a library situation, it's either under glass or you don't get to put your little pinky on it and go, ooh.
The letter is dated in 1863 in Washington. A lot of soldiers either got sick, wounded, hurt, and they had to come off the battlefield and were in the hospital. Now, Walt Whitman, he had a brother in the Civil War, and the brother got wounded. Walt Whitman went down to find his brother, to see how he was, found him alive, fortunately. But in the trip, he saw the amputations, the wounding, he saw the destruction, and he immediately wanted to help. One of the things he did was soldiers who were too sick to write home, he would sit there and write letters for them. And you see, this is all in Walt Whitman's handwriting. It's not just the front, but it's a longer letter. He's talking about, please, family, please write to me, I miss you, write me long letters. Right. And then, what really adds to the tragedy is he says, my diarrhea is still somewhat troublesome, yet I feel in pretty good spirits. It didn't get better, and he died within 2 weeks. I did a lot of checking, and I didn't find hardly any letters that he wrote for the patients. And he obviously did a lot, but people weren't necessarily saving them because they weren't Walt Whitman letters per se, they were the family.
Right.
I would say that a collector would easily pay in the $8,000 to $12,000 retail range.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. I never would have thought that.
One of the things when you do appraisals, either at a roadshow or personally, is you don't necessarily always need to know everything. Matter of fact, you never will know everything. And if you did know everything, it would get boring. But you just need to know who to call. Ken Price is the co-director of the Walt Whitman Archives. If it's Walt Whitman, he's one of the people to get in touch with. I have heard that Abbie is bringing the letter with her so that Ken Price can actually see the physical letter.
Abbie?
Oh, hi,
Really
Ken.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you after all this time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Terrific. Man, that's beautiful. I've been working with Whitman's manuscripts for 30 years or so, and so I feel as if I can recognize his handwriting the way I can recognize my mother's handwriting. I find these letters that Whitman inscribed for other people when he's writing for them, he's being a ventriloquist, as it were. I find them especially moving. He's not doing it in a pretentious way. He's not trying to sound like a famous poet, nor is he trying to take a lot of credit for it. Sometimes he writes these letters and he doesn't, as he did in the case of this letter for Abbie and Hubbard, right at the bottom, written by Walt Whitman. Sometimes he just inscribes it and then selflessly does this as a service to other people.
We just brought it in actually as a supporting document to other items. And when I showed it to the man at the folk art table, he said, I think Ken Gloss might like to see this. Why don't you come over here with me? And we knew that it was probably, something interesting, but it was, so it just was, it all unfolded in our laps. We had no idea that it would be anything like this. It was just one of those things.
The original appraised price was $8,000 to $12,000. At the time, I knew it was rare. I didn't realize that this is one of the only known. There are a couple in archives and libraries. I think now you could probably get into the maybe $15,000 or $20,000. On the other hand, If you're a Walt Whitman collector, be it a literary institution, a library, an archive, or a collector, if you want an example of the type of letter that he wrote in the Civil War for somebody, you might never get one in a whole career of collecting.